And welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the franchise overview category. This video will be dedicated to one of the Cartoon Network franchises, Codename Kids Next Door, also called Kids Next Door or KND for short. Kids Next Door was created by Tom Warburton, and it was one of the Cartoon Network series that was created as a result from Cartoon Network's Big Pick. Grim and Evil, which spun off into the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne, were also the results of Cartoon Network's Big Pick as well. As for KND, essentially, it was a series about a group of kids that would face off against adult tyranny, which was essentially things that would be considered mundane in real life, but they were exaggerated into very big battles. Like some concepts like going to the dentist or eating vegetables would be exaggerated into heroic versus villainous battles. And that was part of the charm, I felt, was the humor about how they would exaggerate mundane things into these fantastic battles. Now, as for the group of kids, the main focus was on 5 kids in particular: Nigel Uno, Hoagie P. Gilligan Jr., Kooky Sanban, Wallaby Beetles, and Abigail Lincoln, though they went by their code names, numbers 1 through 5. Oh, and they spelled number with a UH at the end rather than an ER in the spelling. I just thought I'd mention that, just as a heads up for anyone unfamiliar with the series. Now, while at first the first season mostly focuses on these 5 individuals, but by the end of the first season, we see that they're actually a single branch in the Kids Next Door organization, which is actually a global organization. And while we do get to see bits and pieces of the other members by the end of season 1, it's more so starting in season 2. That's when we get to see more of the global Kids Next Door, and we get to learn about the other members in greater detail. We do get to meet a few here and there at the end of the first season, but again, it's season 2 onwards when we get a better understanding of the other Kids Next Door members. The 5 that we focus on mostly, their sector is called Sector V, Roman numeral for 5, so pretty fitting sector name. And while most of the villains they fight are adults, there are occasional kid villains here or there. One of the main villains is a group of 5 kids called the Delightful Children from Down the Lane. And Father, who is, well, their father, I mean, it's a little complicated. We'll go more into detail about that in future videos, but yeah, the villain Father is considered the main villain of the series overall. Now, overall, like I said, one of the main things I liked about this series was how they exaggerate those mundane kids versus adults ideas, and it becomes like big battles. I thought that was pretty fun when I was watching the series back in the day, and I still find that pretty humorous, but another thing I liked about this series was how it eventually grew into serialized elements, because for the most part, season 1, it's mostly episodic, but even then, there were still a few hints of serialized elements even as early as season 1. And it becomes a little more obvious starting with season 2, but as the series progresses, we get more and more serialized elements. And that was a pretty cool touch, because usually when people think of serialized elements, they tend to think of more serious shows, or at least that's been my experience anyway. Usually people seem to associate more serious shows with serialized elements. But the nice thing about Kids Next Door was, while it definitely did have it had its moments of where you can definitely reflect or be serious. I always felt it kept its humor, it kept the fun, it kept the charm. So that's something I really appreciated about the series. Now, while the series did end in 2008, recently, like as in within the past, not too long ago, like maybe a year or two back, or maybe 3 years by now, as of the recording of this video. But recently, yeah, just summarize, recently, there's been talks of maybe a sequel show coming along, Galactic Kids Next Door. At least there was a little teaser that was put together for it, and it hasn't officially been greenlit, at least as of the recording of this video, but Tom Warburton has expressed interest in making Galactic Kids Next Door, and so far it hasn't been greenlit yet, like I said, but like I said, Tom Warburton's hopeful it will be greenlit, and many fans are hopeful too, so maybe in the future we'll get to see this sequel series. We'll just have to be patient and see. But I guess if fans do show their support, show there's interest, we might have a chance to continue on with this particular franchise. And there you go for the franchise overview. This was definitely one of my favorite shows to watch when I was younger, and I still find enjoyment watching it today as well. So, yeah, in the future, you could expect to see some more videos dedicated to Codename Kids Next Door on the channel at some point in the future. Take care, and until next time.